Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay, and this week's video is going to be more of a kind of vlog, room update, some pickups. We'll go over to Collector's Corner, and I'll also tell you about some of those side quests I've been on in terms of my hobby projects. So a few things have changed in the room, a few things to show you, and of course while I'm doing that I'll also tell you a little bit about where I've been for the last few weeks, why I've not been making as much content, and kind of where we're going with the channel moving forward. So let's get straight into some of those room updates. Let's spin the logo and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so as I said, it's been a few weeks. I've been busy in here making a few small changes, nothing too radical, although the structure behind me is probably the most sizable change in here. But also life's been busy. Work has ramped up over the last few weeks for me with the professional day job, and it keeps me away from the hobbies. I've obviously got a young family, as I think I've mentioned before. So things have just been busy, frankly, and I haven't really felt inspired to make content. I've been really enjoying the weekly streams, which hopefully some of you have seen and picked up on, and I'm going to continue doing those, and I'll talk about those later on. But generally, it's been an energy thing, it's been a time issue, and frankly, it's been about having something worthwhile to tell you. I'd gotten to a point where I felt like things like my monthly pickup videos were just getting a little bit stale, and I hadn't felt too inspired to do much. I wanted to come back around today and film something just to really kind of say hi, show you some of the stuff I've been doing in the room, and also go through some of those pickups that have been stacking up on my shelves. I've got a few really interesting ones. It's not a massive pile, but what is there I think is really cool. So let's start with some of the room updates. I'm going to flick you over now to my phone and we'll go around the room and I'll show you what's been going on. So let me show you some of the changes. So first of all, if I spin around at my desk, the biggest and most obvious change, I guess, is right here. And yes, I've been back to IKEA, and yes, 2 more Billy bookcases. Now, the main reason for this, let me just move my chair out the way. I used to have a Kallax unit here with sort of 4 of those cube units on. I had shoes and storage and a few of these bits that you can see here, Mario and some of my handhelds on display. Perfectly fine, actually, and I was happy with it, but we had a need for that Kallax unit in the house in order to move and collect shoe storage. It's highly exciting stuff, but we decided that this was an opportunity for me to actually extend the look and feel of the the Billies on the left, which I've talked about in the previous video. These now house DVDs, CDs, and kind of general collectibles. And I thought it would be really good, as my desk is now this end, to box in, I guess, my working end of the room with another 2 Billies. And I think they look really good lined up together. With lots of space, they're far from complete, as you can tell. At the top here, much like on the other side, I've got a few of the board games that I own. We've still got the custom 3D printed Helldiver's helmet. The Gears of War gun that used to be on that wall has come off. Spider-Man's moved over there. And then the Assassin's Creed figures or collectibles have moved onto one of the shelves for the time being. The only reason they need such a large shelf is the Black Flags statue at the back there is so tall. But that is what it is. Forward then we've got my King Koopa steel disc plate, which consequently took a chunk out of my hand when I accidentally knocked it over. We've got the 3D printed Game Boy mount. We've got the Mario statue holding the 3DS. Over here, I'm just going to show you these quickly, but I will put some more B-roll in later on. These came as part of one of my purchases, which I'll show you shortly. And then what I've been able to do, and I'm really pleased with this actually, is I've got all of my Edge magazines tucked in here. Now this is not a full set. There's a video on my channel about 6 months ago where I went to Edinburgh and bought 3 big archive boxes full of these off someone. I do think the more I look at them, the more I'd like to go out and start picking up the gap fills and fleshing this out. This goes from, I think it's something like issue 50 down there, all the way up to retro-wise, what have we got here? 197. And then I've started subscribing to more of the modern ones, which I've also got here. Below that, we've got a whole load of books now. So some of these are my gaming books, strategy guides, some of the nice coffee table books, and then some more random books down below. And then over here, it's just some random bits of some of my Pokemon Scarlet and Violet original 151, some camera gear tucked under there, some random bits on a shelf. Again, these aren't fleshed out, and what bringing this in has done if I just pan up and finish showing you what's up here, it's given me loads of capacity, not just on these billies, but in the other parts of the room, and you'll see that in a second. Got the Quest 3 up in the top left. Some camera recording equipment, all of my Nintendo handhelds tucked on this shelf, and then right up here, trying to decide what to do with these. I got these recently from a car boot sale, or should I say my friend Mary got them from a car boot sale, and they are a host of PlayStation 2 demo discs, a few 360 demo discs all in here. You can see a bunch of Xbox 360 ones, and then some random bits I got on eBay, just bits of tap from some random job lot that I bought, all tucked next to my Tekken statue, which I really love actually, and it's quite cool to have him kind of sticking out of the shelf. I think that looks really effective. If you've got any ideas on content you'd like to see, I did think about maybe doing a stream where I just work my way through a bunch of these demo discs and see what's on them, try some of the random games out, watch some of the retro footage. I think it's interesting to see how they present this stuff. Moving around, we've still got the Hasbros, they haven't moved. And then this is where the positive impact has been felt in terms of space. So I used to have a load of books up here, that's now empty. I've got a couple of those sort of tucked down here. This section's now half empty, a couple more down here. And then a lot of these cupboards are now empty as well, so need to do something with those. Really like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. These were 3D printed. I didn't do them in the same colours, should have. Maybe I'll go back and paint them. I just printed these off to display some of the nicer artwork from the Edge magazines that I've been buying. Now they only fit the more modern ones, the old ones are just that little bit too big. But I think they look really smart. So we've got the Doom guy here from Doom the Dark Ages, Death Stranding, obviously in the Kojima art style. I know it's not his art style, but yeah, I always think Metal Gear whenever I see that. And then I guess an older episode then is the Bond, new Bond game. And I quite like the way they just kind of cascade down the wall. As I bring you round, I can pan back and show you that end of the room now, and you can see kind of how that looks, which I'm really pleased with. Again, this hasn't changed. A couple of small tweaks in terms of which games are forefront. I've been able to spread things out a little bit up here, just so it's not quite so cluttered. And then again on the back wall, not a massive change. I did do a bit of 3D printing even. So I 3D printed this Pokemon logo, which I think looks really effective on that shelf edge. I've also got a few new additions actually. I'll just show you them while we're over here. These came with the Pokemon ZA pre-order, the new Switch 2 title, which I picked up and played on stream a few weeks ago. I also brought my Resident Evil collection to the forefront, so a pile of Resident Evil games in there. Did realise that I don't actually have 7 or 8, so I'll be picking those up at some point when I see them. And then again, a bit more 3D printing over here. The same file, slightly smaller, just tucked on the shelf there with the other Pokemon. And then I think as I come back round, the only other thing to show you over here that's really changed in this room, and I'm just going to skip over my little pile of pickups, that's for later, spoilers, it's this little coffee table. Now this isn't anything fancy, and yes, it's a bit old-fashioned. It actually came from my grandfather when he passed away, and I didn't have the heart to get rid of it. But I wanted to make it more practical. I used to have lots of stuff piled on here, like my headphones, as you can see, tucked down there, a remote control, my Stream Deck. I always get them confused. Anyway, down the left here, I 3D printed, all in brown, just to try and match the unit a little bit, a simple remote control holder. You may have seen this on my YouTube shorts, so apologies. There's a little headphone holder there. But I think the best thing about this is, as you can just about see here, is this concealed little tray, which now tips forward when I'm streaming to give me access to my Stream Deck. I think it's so cool that we can do this sort of stuff just at home with a 3D printer. And it's all, again, just printed in place. It's a bracket and a sliding tray mechanism completely designed by somebody else. And when you sort of stood up here like this, it completely disappears. You simply can't see it. And this is where I typically sit when I'm streaming. So I've got my kind of comfort monitor here, a really cheap and nasty wireless keyboard. The camera is just up there with some lighting above there. So yeah. And then the last thing in here, just to complete the changes, was here. So for those who had noticed before, I used to have this fridge, as you can see just down here. It was previously tucked in this corner, which now houses another beanbag. That's not ideal, I'll be honest, but I don't want to get rid of it. I've had that beanbag a long time and we don't have the space in the rest of the house for it. But what I did do is move the fridge over here, which I think is much better. It's much easier to access, creates a nice clean line as you come into the room, and then head round towards where the desk is. It's also enabled me to raise up my Marcus standee from Gears of War 3, to a height where, you know, he's kind of eye level for me now. Still got the display here with the 360 and the GameCube. And then what I was worried about, previously on the fridge, I used to have my Titanfall statue, which is now up here. And I didn't know how it was going to look because the arcade does slant back, but actually I really like the angle that it presents him at from an eye level perspective. It's really cool. I can see him much more now. I can see it more clearly, and with that little light on as well, it just makes him look particularly cool. So yeah, really happy with that. And as I said, I'll just give you a quick pan round of the room. And as we shoot around here now, this is how the desk area looks. Just give you some of the mess. So Billy's either side, my storage behind there in the doorway, and then this is where I spend my day when I'm working. So yeah, really happy with that. And like I said, that's kind of what I've been spending my time on for the last few weeks. I think what we'll do though, now that we've had a quick room update, ask me any questions if you've got any in the chat, of course, as always. I think we'll hop over to Collector's Corner and let me run you through some of the cool stuff I've picked up in the last few weeks. Okay, and welcome to Collector's Corner. So, a few bits to show you that I've picked up over the last few weeks. Now these have been accumulating, and I think I might have actually also put other things that I've picked up and not shared on the channel into the collection in the last few weeks when I've had a bit of a tidy up. And anyway, apologies, but I've got a really good stack here of a mixture of old and new and kind of game adjacent to share with you. So let's get straight into the modern pickups first of all, and a few Switch titles. Now, you will see these are very clearly perhaps targeted at my children, but we've had a great time with these. So the first one we picked up was Lego Party. If you haven't seen this before, it's a fairly new release on the Switch. It doesn't have a Switch 2 release or an upgrade, which is a bit disappointing. It's also on PS5 and Xbox, and it's effectively Lego's attempts at a Mario Party. And I have to say, it's actually really quite good. It removes that kind of nonsense at the end of a Mario Party game where you get gifted stars for your random acts throughout the game. So it does reward more tactics. The mini games themselves, the value actually comes in victory leading to the order of play in the next round, which again is a nice twist. It's not just coins that you're building up, you're actually earning the right to go next or go first. So if that's important to you in the next round, you can battle for that privilege. 4 maps so far, lots of opportunity here for them to create custom maps potentially from other Lego franchises. I'd be really interested to see them build on this with DLC. But all in all, if you haven't played it and you've got young kids or you like a family party game, this is genuinely a really good title. More for my daughter than anybody else. My last actual video on the channel was talking about cancelling my Xbox Game Pass subscription. That remains cancelled. Still don't think that they've done enough to sort of win people back, and they seem to have just let the fuss and the furore die down and carry on with their price hikes. So one of the games that we had lost access to, which my daughter was particularly aggrieved about, was Minecraft. Now we've got a few Switches in the house. She has inherited one of the mainline Switches since Switch 2s have come into the house as well. And Minecraft is a game that she loves to sit and play and chill out to and just build in, and she's very creative. So we picked up Minecraft on the Switch, and she's been having a huge amount of fun with that. I think again it was like less than £20, although, you know, what is this now, a 20-year-old game? I don't know, crazy really. And then the last Switch pickup you saw very briefly, but I'll mention what it was in a second, part of this pre-order. I bought this directly from Nintendo, and that is the Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 release on the Switch. Now I do own Super Mario 3D. 3D All-Stars? 3D something? Mario 3D? Anyway, the compilation on Switch of Mario 64, Mario Sunshine and Galaxy. And back at the time of release, everyone said it was a little bit weird that Galaxy 2 wasn't included. Now I don't know whether that was Nintendo gearing up to do something like this, and it does mean that I've effectively bought the same game twice. But I cursed myself because back then I only bought the digital version of Mario 3D. And I wish I'd bought the collection on physical, because it's only going up in price and it's very frustrating. But either way, picked this up, and the main reason I bought it directly from Nintendo was that if you pre-ordered it with Nintendo, it came with some extra bits and pieces. Now, a couple of those things were key rings and nothing too interesting. But what really took my interest were the 2 metal posters that came with that collector's edition. Now, I showed them briefly earlier on. I will be inserting some better quality B-roll to show you what they look like a little bit more closely, but they're fantastic. They're honestly absolutely gorgeous. Even the box that they come in is stunning. And it's a game, again, that, you know, if you love The Plumber and you love Nintendo, you know, it's a no-brainer for a room like mine, with so much love for Super Mario. So I'm really pleased to have those metal posters in my collection. I'm probably not going to display them out of the box because I don't want to take them out and lose the box itself. The box is actually so nicely put together. But they look great on the shelf as they are, and I'm really grateful to have this in the collection. And I've actually been enjoying playing Mario Galaxy 2 with my son because I never played it back on the Wii. I'd bounced off the Wii well and truly by the time Galaxy 2 came out. And then my only other modern release is one you may have seen me streaming recently, and that is Battlefield 6 on the PlayStation 5. I haven't bought a Battlefield game for quite a long time, but it seems to be a trend recently. I bought FC 26, and it's the first FIFA or, you know, FC game that I've bought in about 4 or 5 years. I also bought Football Manager 26. Don't know why. I'm just having a nostalgia trip for games I enjoyed in my 20s. That's because I haven't bought a Football Manager game in 8 years either, but both of those were digital, so nothing to show here from a collector's perspective. But I picked Battlefield 6 up. I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. You know, it harks back to Battlefield of old. It's what I enjoyed in FPS games back on the 360. I enjoyed COD like everyone, of course. That was the mainstay for me. But what I really enjoy about Battlefield is that the team emphasis, that squad gameplay. And we've been playing RedSec fairly recently as well, friends and I, which is the new Battle Royale mode from Battlefield 6, which again gives me kind of 2020 Warzone vibes, which was one of the only good things to come out of COVID, frankly. But yeah, Battlefield 6 is my other modern pickup. Moving backwards then, a little bit, I've got 2 Xbox 360 pickups. Nothing too flashy here, but I think what really did it for me was the cardboard or the collector's element to these. So the first one, and anyone who knows my channel will know that I'm a big fan of the Tomb Raider series, and I managed to find Tomb Raider Underworld, the limited edition on Xbox 360. I think I got it in CEX. I don't think it was more than about £10. I can't exactly remember. And it isn't massively bloated in terms of what comes with it. It's a nice cardboard sleeve. It's got a bonus DVD with it, which I'll probably never get around to playing. But it just looks nice, and I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. I've got a lot of, if not all of the Tomb Raider games now in some form or other. And when we go over to look at Sidequest shortly, I'll tell you a bit more about the progress of my Lara Croft statue, which I eventually want to build a display around, assuming that I can do that justice. So Tomb Raider Underworld limited edition was my 360 pickup, along with a game that I never played on the 360. The condition of this one's not amazing, but when I tell you how much I paid for it again, I think you'll understand. And that is Prince of Persia on the Xbox 360. Now if I pop the little sleeve open, you'll see the version I'm talking about, because there's obviously a few games in this series. It's this kind of more anime, cartoony kind of style graphics, moving away a little bit from some of the more realism styled versions of the PS2 titles. I never played this back in the day. Again, I think by the time this came out, I'd had my fill of Prince of Persia, and I'd moved on to other things. But I came across this in CEX again, really good price. It's got a bonus content disc, tucked away in here, pulling it apart. So there's a disc in there, there's the game, and then some nice artwork. This was in the glass cabinets, which to me always signifies it's going to be expensive, but it wasn't. It was £10. So again, I thought, just to add this game to the collection in this condition, and I think this is a CEX trait, isn't it? Quite a lot of the collector's edition or limited editions, they're just priced at the normal retail price, which again, I suspect is what this was. So yeah, I added Prince of Persia to the collection. And again, it's one that I actually think I will give a go at some point in the future, perhaps on a stream, put it on for a couple of hours and see if it's any good. Then we go back even further, and I've got a couple of cartridge onlys. Now these are courtesy of my friend Mary down south, who picks things up for me under the guise of being her brother, which I'm not, but I don't mind for the purposes of what she does. And she buys these from car boots for me. So quite often on a Sunday morning, I think I've said this before, I get lots of pictures from her telling me about all these things that she's seen. And the ones that I asked her to pick up for me this time were 2 Mega Drive games. One, which is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the OG, and the only ones I'm really interested in. Now, I don't think I played this back in the day or owned it. I certainly had the Super Nintendo version, which I played a lot. When I saw this, it was the nostalgia hit really. It's the logo. and I thought, got to add that to the collection, and one that I look forward to giving a go to. And then the other one is, I don't think I actually owned this back in the day, and that is Sonic & Knuckles on the Mega Drive. And this is a really interesting cartridge. Anyone who knows this industry will know this, but it's got this little flip back lid where you can insert other Sonic games. Now, I'm going to need a bit of help in the comments. I probably could have done some research before I filmed, but I think there is a game in its own right within this, or it only works with Sonic 1, 2 and 3 and inserts Knuckles into those games. I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need you to tell me in the comments below, because I haven't got around to testing it yet, but I will, and I'll explain how I'm going to do that in a minute. So those are my two retro pickups, a couple of cartridges to add to the collection, and also, I guess, on the cartridge front, something else that I added to my collection a few weeks ago, having seen it on another channel. I think it was Mick LeBear Games, and he was showing his setup, and I noticed he'd got this, and it's the Hyperkin. I'm going to call it the Retro, is it Retro 5? Retron 5? I'm looking at it on the floor there. Retron 5, I think it is. Garishly coloured, but very kind of 90s neon aesthetic. But effectively what this basically allows you to do is to play Super Nintendo, NES, sorry, Game Boy, GBA, Mega Drive, and then all of the kind of overseas equivalents. So for me, that's like the Famicom, the Super Famicom, Genesis, etc. You can use your original controller hardware, but it's an emulator, so it basically rips the ROM off the cartridge and then runs it locally via emulation. It comes with its own controllers as well. I didn't buy this as a replacement for the real deal on the back wall here. I still prefer to play, where I can, on the CRT, on the original hardware. However, my NES is temperamental, as are a number of the NESs that I now own that don't want to work and that are now in spares and repairs. And I wanted to be able to test NES games when I'm buying them and know that they're reliably working. And if I'm honest, from a streaming perspective, which I'm enjoying doing more of, the Hyperkin is much easier just to hook up from an HDMI perspective, pop onto a stream and play some retro games for you guys. So that was the motivation for buying it. I have to say it works pretty well. A lot of the reviews I read suggested that the cartridge slots were quite tight. That is absolutely true. Some of them you have to push so hard on, you may feel like you're going to break something. I haven't yet, but doesn't mean I won't. So hopefully I'm not going to do any damage to any of my games. But that was a really fun pickup that I've been enjoying. It did allow me to try Metal Gear on the NES. I got the OG Metal Gear, I mentioned that in my last video, and I go as hard as balls. That's a really hard game. I'm glad I started with Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation when it comes to that franchise, but it's still cool to own. 3 more things for Collector's Corner, and these are not games, but they're game adjacent. So first of all, I've mentioned recently about my diving back into physical media and my enjoyment of CDs. So I thought I'd share a couple of pickups on that front with you. The first of which is an original soundtrack from one of my favourite games, and possibly my favourite game of this series. It's a controversial one. I've talked about it before, and that is Final Fantasy VIII. So this is the original soundtrack spread across 4 CDs, and there's some lovely artwork on the box as well with screenshots from the game's various cutscenes, which back in the day, you know, whenever you get to a certain point in the Final Fantasy game, 7, 8 or 9, or even 10 actually, and you triggered one of those CGI cutscenes, it was like the most exciting thing in the world. Oh my God, look at the graphics, kind of levels of excitement. I always preferred 8 to 7, personally. I would also say 10 is perhaps a close runner for me as to which is my actual favourite. But, you know, they're all great games, aren't they? Let's be honest. But that soundtrack's been a really nice one to be listening to. I also added another soundtrack. This one came all the way from the US, and this is slightly different, but again, it's a game where the music, for me, was part of the enjoyment. And I'll give you a great example. You think of something like Crazy Taxi. When they remastered that on the Xbox 360, but they didn't have the Offspring's music in it, it just didn't play the same. That game just did not feel the same. And this is a game that I don't think would be the same without the music, and the soundtrack makes it, for me at least, and that is SSX3. So this is the soundtrack from SSX3. It's only 12 tracks, so it's far from the full array of music that's on there. But again, it's an album where, a game where the soundtrack played such a big part, I think, in my enjoyment of it back in the day, that this was a no-brainer for me to add. It also comes with a bonus DVD, and I wanted to read you the content because it's funny. So you've got the SSX3 trailer, a first look at SSX3, a sneak behind the scenes in terms of the making of, and then this is where I think these will be fundamentally useless to anyone in the modern world. 2 SSX3 screensavers, 3 SSX wallpapers, 10 SSX3 character icons, and then the Ruiksop Paulino video, Prima hints, and exclusive cheats and hints inside. I think all of those require this DVD to go into a PC, which is going to be difficult now because I certainly don't own a PC with a DVD drive anymore. So, but I didn't buy it for that, obviously, just one to add to the collection. So SSX3. And then the very last thing, I haven't had a chance to play yet. This only turned up yesterday. I picked it up off Amazon. I think it was £15. So if you're quick and you're after it, you might get it. And it's actually a crossover of video games and card games. And it's a card game I've never played. So let me show you what it is first. It is Magic the Gathering, the starter deck, Final Fantasy. Now, I've just talked about Final Fantasy VIII, so probably obvious why I picked this up. I'm a fan of the Final Fantasy series. This one heavily themed around Final Fantasy VII, at least in terms of the 2 main character cards. I've never played Magic the Gathering. I've got some friends who tell me I should. And this particular pack is basically everything you need to get started. So it has 2 ready-to-play 60-card decks, codes to unlock the online, some nice deck boxes themed around Final Fantasy, and then a play guide that teaches you how to play. So, interested in your comments below. Have you played Magic the Gathering? Is it something I'm going to enjoy? I do appreciate kind of physical board games and card games more now as I'm getting older, and this seems like something that's perhaps missed me, so I'm keen to give it a try. And this, for £15, I think it was reduced, felt like an easy way to kind of dip my toe in and have a go. There are some expansion packs on this. I think they're £50 and £70 respectively, that build out your deck. I don't need those right now, not while I don't know what I'm doing anyway. So that's my final pickup. Hope you like those. I'd love to know your thoughts below as to which ones are your favourites. Did I do well with those? To me, there's not a lot of filler there. Maybe a little bit with the Prince of Persia game. I don't know how good that actually was back in the day, but the rest of that stuff, for me at least, is meaningful, kind of impactful brands that I love. So a nice selection of things to add to the collection, and they will get dotted throughout the room over the next week or 2 as I get around to putting them away. I'm going to hand you over now to Jay in the workshop to give you a little update on my side quests, so I can tell you a little bit more about what we've been doing from a hobby perspective. So let's head over there. And here we are in the workshop. So I've been doing quite a lot in here actually over the last few weeks. You saw some of the 3D printing that I've been doing earlier on in the room update. There's a few bits as well that I can show you. So just a little novelty project for Halloween. I printed these Wolverine claws, 3D printed, and a little bit of spray paint just to make them look a bit more metallic. They're a bit of fun. Nothing too complicated involved in that. I have been working on the Lara Croft work, so I'll just quickly do a little pan around and show you what some of that looks like. So we've not moved on a huge amount. All the parts are now printed, and they've all had a black primer coat and then a zenithal highlight just ready for the base colour to go on. If I come over here, you'll get a better idea of what this is all going to look like as the body's kind of stood up over here at the moment. I am very slowly moving through this. I don't know, I think I'm slightly put off by the idea of what success may or may not look like. I watch a lot of YouTubers who are incredibly talented painters, and I don't do this very often, and I'm not an incredibly talented painter. So, you know, it's something that I think, I'm sure once I start putting some colour down, I'll get into it, I'll get excited. I've got an array of paints on the side here ready to go. I've procrastinated on this. I've been to the model shop near me and bought little bits and pieces, and I keep adding to my readiness, but putting off starting. So I will have to do that at some point. And when I do, like I said, I think it'll come together really quickly. I'll get into a flow and I'll really enjoy it. And then we'll be able to see whether or not I can achieve anything even close to what some of these professionals can do. But that's the mental block for me right now, is just kind of getting over that and starting. I did also finish the King of Kings Triple H 3D printed skull mask. It was intended to be worn, but I have got a very large head and it didn't fit when I printed it. So I ended up turning it into a light. I think I showed you that in the previous video. I'll insert some footage from the front of the house where it was pride of place on Halloween. I've kind of rigged up simple arm to suspend it on, printed a little gargoyle that sat on top of it, and had one of our previously created craft projects that my daughter and I did, which was a giant kind of gravestone sitting beneath it, just to add to the ambience. And it went down really well on Halloween. We had a lot of really nice comments about how much fun the house was and how it looked, so that was really, really good. Other than that, I think project-wise, it's been a bit about tidying, so you might be able to tell in the background there. I've got a sound system now up on that shelf. This is completely overkill for this room, by the way. I had this particular sound system probably 15, 20 years ago on my PC. It was my PC sound system. It was actually a 5.1 surround sound back then. And the reason it's in here now is that it's been sat in the loft for a long time, and that particular monitor, either it never came with the capability to play audio, it might well be a monitor that didn't have speakers and I didn't realise, or I broke them, I'm not sure. But basically those speakers are plugged into the back of that TV with an audio jack. In order to get around it, previously I was using Apple TV's wireless speaker capability to connect to like a little home pod. But the problem with that is it would have to be connected every time I wanted to use it, which just didn't really feel practical. So now that is plugged in, and it means whenever I turn on the Apple TV and I come in here, I've got instant audio and I can get on. It's just another friction, another barrier, another excuse not to come in here and do something. And actually, I was really worried that as we got closer to winter, this room was going to become a problem. From a cold perspective, I've got a very small heater in here, and I have to say, the insulation job so far, one, it's remaining dry. I've seen no visible issues with my build in the first place, but also it holds the warm really well. So when I come in here now, it is nice and warm. I can get it nice and warm very quickly. And you probably won't be able to hear this on the microphone, that one. I don't know if you can. I'll have inserted rain noise then if I didn't. But it's raining, and it's really nice to be in here when it's raining, because you just hear that pitter patter of rain. It's warm, it's cozy. You've got your comfort of your favourite podcast or your YouTube content on, and then I can start making and painting. So I will at some point get onto this Lara Croft, and when I do, I'll try and take a bit of footage. I did film some of the spray work to prime the models, so I'll try and remember to do the same. My big thing at the moment is trying to make sure that I'm doing the maximum to enjoy my hobbies. I think one of the things that's put me off a little bit creating content recently, especially while I've been so busy at work, has been that pressure that I felt that I've put upon myself to make something every week. And then when I've come to sit down and spend some time, or I'm tired at the end of the day and I want to sit and play a game, or I want to go and come in here and paint, my brain says, well, if you come in here and paint, you've got to film it, and that's extra work, and I'm not in the mood. Or if I'm going to play a game, I could be making content, or I could be making a retro quest, or I could be streaming, and that then makes me not want to do it. So basically, if I'm honest, what I did in the last few weeks is gave myself permission not to care. And I've enjoyed the weekly streams. I hope you have too. Come and join me on those. I will be doing more of them, and I might even do more in the weeks. I have set up now dual streaming. So if you're not a YouTube guy when it comes to where you get your streams, but you like your video content on YouTube, my streams will now go to my Twitch channel as well, which is JGrice UK. I'll pop a link for that down in the comments below, in the description even. So go and check that out if you prefer Twitch. So you'll be able to find me over there as well. I am going to continue to make videos, obviously. I've made this one, and I will make more. I've got ideas, I've got things that I want to do. I'm just waiting for that energy and the inspiration. It's a difficult time of year. It's been a really busy return to work after kind of a lighter summer. And now with the day job being what it is, and energy levels being what they are, as the winter kicks in, I just need to find that mojo, if you like, to do this and do it more. We will get back to it, I'm sure. I'm certainly not giving up on my enjoyment of making content. I want to do more. For me, it's just about finding the right topics so that I'm making content that I'm actually happy to put out, and that I'm inspired to make it, and I've got ideas and I want to do it. I also want to balance that with just playing games and enjoying life and just chilling out, in an evening when I need to, or at a weekend. In fact, this morning, it was great. Everyone got up, the family all got up, we had breakfast. My son turned on the Switch in the living room and he started playing his game. And then we all sort of just chilled and did our own thing, and I went and got my Switch, and I've been playing a game called Ball Pit, or Ball X Pit. Not sure which one it is. If you haven't played it, highly recommend it. recently released, I think maybe a few weeks ago. It's about £10 or £15 depending on where you play your games. It's available, I think, on all consoles and on Steam. But it's a really great little roguelike, what's it, like a brick bashing game. I'm not sure how to describe it. You'll all know the game I'm talking about, when you used to bounce a ball up and down and break the bricks. It's that, but they're not bricks, they're demons that are coming towards you, and you can get level ups for your characters. You can level up your balls, you can combine the balls with special powers, and then you get different balls and level them up again. It's got a really nice loop to it, and then when you're not doing these kind of dungeon runs, you're then building an overworld where you're leveling up your characters, harvesting components to build more of your overworld, and it's just a really kind of, I don't know, really addictive gameplay loop. I must have spent 3 hours playing this morning, and I haven't done that in a long time. And every time I told myself this will be the last run, I did another one. I must have done about an hour of telling myself this is the last one. So highly recommend Ball Pit. I might even do a stream on it at some point. Yeah, let me know if you'd like to see a bit of that and watch some gameplay and have a chat. It's a really nice chill game. I can absolutely sit and play on the stream and chat away with anyone who wants to. Anyway, we are reaching waffle point now. I'm sure this video has already gone on long enough. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. Sorry if you're a regular viewer and you've been waiting for content. Like I said, I think going forward it's gonna keep coming, but it'll be maybe a little more sporadic. I'll try and be as regular as I can, but I'm not going to put that pressure on when I'm not feeling it or I haven't got the idea. But I will try and do at least a weekly stream, because I'm really enjoying those, and it's much easier for me to do that, and it still allows me the thing I'd always hoped that doing this channel would allow me to do, which is to enjoy gaming again and just sit and play for the fun of playing and take some of that pressure off. So anyway, thanks again. If you haven't, please subscribe if you like this content, if you want to hear more from me. Get involved in the comments below. Lots of things I'd love to hear your thoughts on that I've asked you about throughout the video, but just generally your feedback, your thoughts. Ask me questions. Is there something in my room you saw you want to know more about? Something in here you want to know more about? Just ask. I'm always happy to share, and I may even turn them into videos if it's sensible or appropriate to do so. Sorry, Editor J here, jumping in. I did forget one last thing before I signed off. If you are going to MGM Comic Con in Birmingham on, I think it's the last weekend in November, it's MGM Comic Con and EGX in one event. I will be there all day on the Saturday. If you're going and you'd like to meet up, I'd love to say hi and do some geeking out and look around the show with you. So let me know in the comments below. Back to Jay to sign off. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.